Yo, 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 yo. Okay, so today we're going to look at the 10-mark question. I'm going to show you the structure of it, and I'm going to show you sort of an example answer. Just before I get into it, so much respect and much love to everyone that's been making requests and asking questions, and especially in terms of the way that you guys have been so polite and so well-mannered. That's good, yeah? So that's exactly how you want to be. So if you ask for something from someone, especially from someone that doesn't need to give you anything, yeah, self-made in that, you know what I mean? Someone that doesn't have to give you anything and you need something from them, having good manners is key. It could even save your life, yeah, but that's another story for another day. Okay, anyway, so today we're going to look at the 10-mark structure. So go ahead, take your jotters out and just make your heading 10-mark structure. Okay, so 10-mark structure, that is the heading. All right, now first thing, what does the 10-mark question focus on? What is the point of the 10-mark question? So the point of the 10-mark question, just to begin with, is it asks you to compare two parts, either of the same text, or it asks you to compare two texts by the same writer. So again, the point of the 10-mark question is to either compare two parts of the same text. For example, if you're doing like Jekyll and Hyde, you're going to be comparing the part of the text that's in front of you in the exam. And then also you're going to be comparing a part of the text that's not in front of you, i.e. Sort of what you've memorized, which is those quotes that you've memorized. If you're not doing Jekyll and Hyde, if you're doing like poems, you might be comparing, for example, Mrs. Midas with Valentine. So two poems. So essentially it's about a comparison, yeah. So you're gonna make some kind of comparison and say how the text share something, yeah, how they have something in common, which is why the first section is called commonality. That's why the first section is called commonality. Okay, so that being said, now there are three basic sections, okay, to this question. So I'm going to give you the structure first of all, and then what I want you to do, okay, is I want you to write this down, obviously, and then once you've done that, then we're going to go through it step by step, and we'll use one of my students' answers to sort of show you like what exactly goes where, how it gets filled in, yeah. Okay, so just a big picture view first of all. So in terms of the overall structure, you have three sections, okay? Just three sections. Okay, you have a commonality section, which is worth 2 marks, right? Then you have 2 quotes from the exam paper. And sometimes this is usually called extract. So this is extract. Okay, and then you have 6 quotes that are not on the exam paper. Okay, and this is usually what is called elsewhere. So these 2 quotes will be available to you because they'll be on your exam paper. Okay, these 6 will not be available to you. So these are the ones that you need to actually memorize. Okay. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually go ahead and let me sort of walk you through this. So first of all, what I'd like you to do, okay, is I'd like you to pause this video. All right. I'd like you to pause the video and I'd like you to write down this, please. Yeah. So pause the video. Write down commonality, 2 marks. You're probably going to need to take a new page for this because this is probably going to take your whole page, yeah? So pause the video, commonality, 2 marks, and then go ahead and write this down, yeah? Go ahead and write this down. So state the name of the text, mention the question, etc. Okay, so pause the video, write this down, and then come back. Okay, so now that you have that written down, let me sort of explain to you what exactly each part means. And then after that, what I'll do is I'll show you an actual example here from one of my students. Okay, so to begin with, all you're going to do, okay, first of all, when you start is you're going to go ahead and you're going to give the name of the text. So whatever your text is, you're going to say that. So for example, Jekyll and Hyde. If you're doing more than one text, you're going to say both the names. Yeah, so it could be, for example, Mrs. Midas and Valentine, if you're doing poems. Could be box room and what is it, like Revelation, if you're doing poems again. So whatever the names of the texts are, you want to go ahead and you want to mention them here. So actually what I'll do is let's write this together. Yeah. So what we'll say is the question is going to be Jekyll and Hyde. We'll say, how does the setting, so here you can write this question down as well, yeah, just above. So how does the setting symbolize a key theme? And obviously it would start with by referring to this extract and one other, referring to this extract, one other, and elsewhere in the text. Elsewhere in the text. Explain how. Text. Explain how. Okay. Okay, sweet. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, referring to this extract and elsewhere, basically in what you have in front of you and elsewhere in the text, how does the setting, i.e. the setting of London, how does that symbolize a key theme? Yeah, how does it represent a key theme? Okay, so all we're going to do is we're going to say this, so we're going to say Jekyll and Hyde. So you don't need to write this just now, it's just to give you like an example, yeah. Jekyll and Hyde. In fact, you know what? Let me change the question. Yeah, let me actually change the question. Referring to this external, explain the role of Utterson. I'm gonna change this. Yeah, explain the role. Okay. Okay, statement. Okay, so first of all, what you're gonna do first of all, okay, is you're going to go ahead and you're gonna give the name of the text. All right. So, for example, in our case, it could be Jekyll and Hyde. If you're doing the poems, it could be Mrs. Midas, and Valentine. So whatever you're doing, you just want to write those first. Okay, and then after that, what you want to do is you want to quote the question. Yes. So for example, here the question might be, refer to this extract and elsewhere, explain the role of Utterson. So you're just going to quote that. Okay. Now what that might look like is like this. Might look like this. So in the novel Jekyll and Hyde, so there's the name of the text. The role of Utterson is the main detective in the story. This is just from one of my students. They gave their answer. So the role of Utterson is the main detective in the story. Okay, so there's the quote, there's the question, and there's the text. All right, makes sense. Okay, good. Now, also what you can do is just give a little bit of sort of extra context. So especially if you're talking about like a single character, you might want to give like a little bit of a description of him. Yeah. So here, just a little bit of a description of Mr. Utterson. He's a good guy. And what he does is he discovers the mystery of Hyde. So all of this is essentially related to his role in some kind of way. Yeah. So this is if you're doing like a main character, say, you may want to give a little bit of like extra. Yeah. Okay. Now what you're going to do next is you're going to say, how is the commonality seen in what you have in front of you? Okay. So how do you see the commonality in what you have in front of you? And again, commonality just means what the two parts of the text have in common, what the two poems have in common, what the common theme is. Basically, how are they the same? Yeah, that's all commonality means. How are these two things the same? In what ways are they the same? So to begin with, all you're going to do is you're just going to say, how is the commonality seen in what's in front of you? And then you're going to give like an example. So again, if the question was about the role of Utterson, you would say, for example, that in the extract, Mr. Utterson shows his bravery. So in doing the role of Utterson, what you could zoom in on is one of his main qualities and compare it to how his main quality in the extract and then his main quality like elsewhere. Yeah. So that would be a nice way to do the role of Utterson. So here, you say in the extract we see his bravery. Okay, so this is the focus. This is what our focus is going to be. And then the rest of this is the example, yeah? So here we see his bravery. He travels through London, the dark parts of London to get to Hyde's house. There's the example. So again, the focus, say what the commonality, sort of how it's seen in the extract. And then you're going to give an example or two, yeah? Excuse me. So in Mrs. Midas, this might be, for example, that in Mrs. Midas, we see that the relationship has broken down because of the husband's wish. And if you're talking about sort of the extract that you have in the exam, you might say, we see this in that the Mrs. Midas leaves her husband in the forest or whatever, yeah, something like that is an example. Okay, now you're going to do the same thing except for now what you don't have in front of you, yeah? So this part is about what you don't have in front of you. So this part you need to sort of base on your knowledge. So you need to have like a sort of general understanding of the text. And don't panic. All you have to do basically is make sure that you've memorized 6 quotes and just pick whatever the 6 quotes are talking about, yeah? Just use the best sort of just do the best you can in order to try and mold those into whatever the question is asking you. Okay, so this an example of this might be elsewhere we see that he's very respected and well liked, yeah? And then here's the example for that. Okay, so pretty simple. Basically, name the text, mention the question. How do we see something related to the question in what's in front of us on the exam paper? And how do we see something related to the question in something not in front of us, i.e. something not in the exam paper, and just sort of like an example for each. Okay, I hope that makes sense, yeah? Okay, simple. And that is 2 marks, yeah? Done. So in terms of what that looks like in like length, it's not that long, yeah? It's just like this. This is enough, just like this. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, next, what we're going to do is we now go on to the quote section. So the good news is, as soon as you've done the commonality part, now you essentially are just doing RUAE. So from here, this is all just basically RUAE. Okay, now in terms of the specific sort of steps, how you do this. So first of all, with your 2 quotes, and also pause the video, obviously, write down extract 2 quotes from exam paper, and also write this down as well, please, yeah? So technique, explanation, tie back to analysis. Okay, so just write this down as well. Steps, yeah. And actually, just give me 1 second. Say this shows, and then commonality, because. So there's a little starter sentence for you as well, so you can use that in your answer. Okay, so please write this down. So pause the video, obviously, write this down, and then come back, yeah? Okay, so what we need to do now is we want to go ahead and pick 2 quotes from the extract. Excuse me. So we want to pick 2 quotes from the extract, okay, that are linked in some type of way to the question. So for example, 2 quotes which tell us something about Utterson being brave, yeah? So Utterson being brave is, you've got district of some city in a nightmare is one that you can take. And Dingy Street is another one that you can take. Okay. Now, the way that they show that he's brave is because they show that London's a scary place and he still goes and completes his adventure. Now, in terms of the specific steps for that, all you have to do, okay, it's really simple. All you have to do is once you've got the quote, you just literally pick a technique, okay, and it's just word choice, imagery, or sentence structure, just an RUAE technique. And then you just go ahead and apply the steps, yeah? So, for example, look at this one. District of some city in a nightmare. So this is obviously word choice. Nightmare relates to horror. And this suggests the city of London is a scary, dangerous place. So there is RUAE, okay? And this is obviously slightly simplified just because I think we were doing it quickly because we were kind of running out of time. Okay, but anyway, it's you get the point, yeah. It's just basic RUAE, it's just basic word choice. So nightmare relates to horror. It suggests London is a scary, dangerous place. So just explain the meaning of the quote just explain the meaning of the quote itself. Yeah, that's enough. So what she's got here actually is enough. It's fine. Okay, and then all you do once you've done that is you just connect it back to your first commonality. So whatever you wrote up here, you just connect it to that, okay? So your first section is connected to your first commonality. So your first section, this, all right, is connected to your first commonality, this, okay? So again, let me just repeat that again, just in case you didn't catch it. So this here, the first two quotes, the quotes that are on the exam paper, they connect to this here, the first commonality. Okay, and then obviously the second commonality connects to the 6 quotes, yeah, the second set of quotes, the ones that are not on the exam paper. So this connects to this, and this here connects to this. Okay, so the way that you do that, very simply, is you just say this shows, and then just mention whatever the commonality is. In our case, it's about Utterson being brave. This shows Utterson is brave because, and then from here, you just go into sort of an explanation of how it shows he's brave, yeah? So it can, and again, this is just sort of simplified. In terms of a more kind of detailed version, it might look like something like, this. So this is for, what was it? Mrs. Telsher's class, I think. So here you've got a quote, word choice, okay, relates to these things: alarm, warning, danger. This suggests, and then there's the explanation, and then connect back to the question. Okay, real simple. Quote, technique steps, just like RUAE, yes, the exact same. Quote, technique steps, connect it back to the commonality. That's all you do, yeah? Okay, so you do that twice. Okay, so you do that twice, one for each quote. And again, you can literally take these quotes if you're going to do a question on Utterson's role. Take these 2 quotes. All right. And actually, I would recommend that you use these quotes because you can do them for the other type of question. So I'm going to do a video on the extract, as some people have very politely asked for. So I'll do a video on that also. And I'll cover sort of the other type of question, which is about the setting. I'll do that there, yeah. Okay, but I recommend you memorize these 2 quotes anyway, because they can be used for that also, yeah. Excuse me, they can be used for that also. Okay. So then you just do it again. So you do this one time for the first quote, do it again, same thing. So there's the quote, it relates to whatever. This suggests, okay, this is all word choice, so you can use word choice, no problem. And then this shows, and you connect it back again to the first commonality. Okay, so once you've done that, then all you do is you just go ahead and do the same thing, except now for the 6 quotes that you need to memorize, okay? So 6 quotes that are not on the exam paper that you need to memorize. Okay, so please just go ahead and write this down now. So just make this your heading and then write this down. Okay, and then in terms of what that would look like, is something like this. So here are some other quotes that you can use. So you've got drank gin when he's alone. These are about Utterson again and Jekyll and Hyde. And then here are your sort of answers. There you go. Proved tolerance for others. And again, it's all the same. Do you see this, yeah? So this student of mine, they used word choice, yeah, for I think all of these. So again, same thing, yeah. Quote, suggests, quote relates to, suggests, this shows. Same thing again. Okay. And I'll just go a bit slowly if you want to memorize these quotes and if you want to use them. They're good quotes, yeah. So all of these are about Utterson. And good nature is a quote, yeah, by itself. Okay. Now, in terms of some other examples, again, this was for, I believe, Mrs. Telsher's class. Yeah, so Mrs. Midas and Mrs. Telsher. So for Mrs. Midas, here's 2 quotes that you could use related to the relationship. It's amber eyes holding their pupils like flies. So this is from the nightmare scene. And then there's my student's kind of analysis based on a simile. Yeah, so you've got, it's the same steps as normal, yeah, just like a normal RUE question. So identify the type, say what the what the literal meaning of the image is, which is flies, like dirty insect things, and then what it means, what the quote means, that is, and then connect it back to the commonality. Yeah, same thing. And then you have another one. There's another quote you could use. So he had to move out, which is sentence structure. And there's my student's kind of analysis on that. Excuse me. There's my student's analysis on that. Yeah. Okay. And then here's what they did in terms of the elsewhere. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And that is it. And that is it. Okay. So that is the 10-mark question. That is the 10-mark question. Yeah, that is the 10-mark question. Now, if you have any questions, obviously just put them in the comments. And again, just make sure that you're polite and stuff in it. Super key to be polite, well-mannered in that. Could literally save your life, yeah. I could tell you a funny story. If you want to hear it, let me know. Okay, maybe so I'll tell you a story. So one time I literally saved someone from catching a beating, yeah, just by knowing how to be respectful, how to talk to someone. This brother was about to catch a beating, yeah. I managed to basically talk the guys out of it, yeah, by being respectful and whatnot. Okay, anyway, we'll leave it there. So the next videos I'm gonna do is hopefully I'm gonna get to the sort of other extracts. I'm gonna get to the extracts, and yeah, that's it. All right, cool. Good luck.